Justice League 33, which is the final part of the Bats Out of Hell crossover for Metal. Joshua Williamson's writing, with Tyler Kirkham and Mikkel Janin on art. So two artists, which
I felt, not gonna lie.
it was a little bit back and forth. I don't think this is the thing. Obviously, I like Janin more than Kirkham, but I do like Kirkham as well. So it was kind of like just a back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah, it's one of those where I like both those involved, but I don't think they necessarily match up that well. So it did give me a jarring feeling, a disconnect when I was reading it.
Yeah. I will start this by saying I think it's easily the best of the 4 issues.
Agreed.
Of this, mainly because stuff finally kind of happened. And I'm actually really confident in saying that after I've read all 4, it should have been 2 issues, not 4. But
yeah, 3 at a push. If you do one to set up, one issue of them fighting their various counterparts.
Yeah, like 2 and 3 for absolutely could have been condensed into 1. No question.
Yeah, but 1 was still a bit of a mess anyway.
Yeah, so this leads to Cyborg. Cyborg ends up being kind of the linchpin of this little this crossover, where he's trapped. He's had his limbs ripped off, but in his head, the mother box that's part of his system is kind of talking to him and saying, "Hey, you could have way more power. Like, we can fight this, but you have to like get rid of all your previous data." And he's like, "Wait a minute, previous data? What, you mean me? Like, you mean my memories and my personality and all that stuff?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, but like, you're irrelevant. Like, we can solve this." And it's just cold hard logic. And even though the cube's kind of on his side, it's kind of like, yeah, but
yeah, it's this idea of it's asking him to sacrifice himself in a way. It's like, hey, you give up being you, and we can save the world.
Yeah. However, this mysterious other voice starts to creep in. This, we get the wavy thought bubble kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, someone's talking in his head. And it's like, no, like, you're special because you've got heart. Your humanity is what makes you you. You can't do this. You can't give up who you are. So he's got this other voice, and it was kind of funny actually. It was almost kind of like the little devil and like angel on each shoulder. Almost. That was kind of the vibe you were getting from it. And you see the rest of the Justice League that were fighting have all been tied up, and they're all making their dark plans. But the Alfred Protocol, which is Murder Machine's thing, turns off and like, hey, what's happening? And I actually have to admit, I do actually really like Cyborg's like 1-page spread of him. Like, he's reformed, like he's rebuilt himself new limbs with the power of the mother box and nth metal and whatever else he's got lying around. It looks pretty good.
It does, yeah. It's a really solid page.
I specifically like the lit up emblem on his chest.
Yeah, the way it kind of looked like the flames kind of coming out of it still.
Yeah, it's good. Admittedly, him shouting out, "Now you've got to deal with Cyborg 1 million, baby."
A little bit cheesy.
A little bit on the cheesy side. A little bit cheesy. Although I do think this. I do think this is the best written issue of the 4 as well. But I'll criticise that line.
See, that line was really cheesy, and then the rest of the issue kind of veers into going, oh no, let's embrace the cheese now. Let's embrace, it's the metal aspect of it. It was, and once it kind of got into it, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing again, I was fine with it. It was just that line that felt really jarring, this sudden change into it.
Yeah. Admittedly, as someone who knows absolutely nothing about American football, I feel like Cyborg could cool it on the analogies, please. That'd be nice.
I mean, I don't think you need to know anything.
I'm not going to lie, when he said hike at the bottom of the next page, I legitimately, it took me a second to be like, hike? What the hell's he talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
I know as little about American football as you do, and I got it still.
Nah, it took me a second. Like, I know it. Like, I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, right, okay, I know what that is, but it took me a second. Like, it never clicked right away. I was like, hike? What? Hike where? Where are we hiking to? Is he telling him to take a hike?
Maybe you should have done.
I don't know. But yeah, the whole thing's basically, yeah, but you fought us one-on-one, now we're a team, now we're the Justice League. Now this is the merits of being a team, this is the merits of being a united front. They kind of felt like that. You get that nice big double-page spread of them all fighting, really nice, big and epic.
Yeah, it's a great page.
Those are good stuff. My favourite stuff in this issue, though, is actually that we find out who the voice was in his head, who was talking to him. And it's actually Raven. Raven's been held, because obviously they captured the Teen Titans in the Suicide Squad recently, and that was in the first crossover. and they find Raven's in like a cage. It's almost like a psychic looking cage because it's like made up of like a mental purple kind of energy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, hey, it's you. And she's like, oh, please tell me you didn't give in and like lose yourself, because like I might lose hope if I didn't convince you not to do that. And honestly, I got some feels when they were hugging. That you turn the page and they're embracing each other. I'm like,
And I loved it. And my problem is, in my head I was going, this is why Cyborg belongs with the Teen Titans.
I agree. As soon as I saw them hug, I'm like, you know what? This is the most I've cared about Cyborg probably since the start of the New 52, and I think it's because he kind of belongs with Raven and the other.
Yeah, he has a
teammates.
history with those characters that he doesn't with the League.
This hit me way more than any of his other stuff, because, I mean, first of all, in this issue, he's not just a telephone pole, so that's good.
That helps, yeah.
But he has a history with her, and it actually was kind of touching when they embraced. It was kind of like old friends who've not seen each other in a long time, because he's been off doing even though in this continuity he just went straight to Justice League. He was never in the Teen Titans in this continuity, but
yeah, it murkies this moment up a little bit, I guess.
But for us, it works. And I guess if you go back to that idea where it all really happened, they just don't remember it, and we've stole 10 years, but deep down they still kind of feel something. Kind of like how Tim's like, that name Connor's tugging at my heartstrings, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll
allow it.
That kind of thing. No. It's actually really old school at the bottom of that page, where you've got like the 5 heads of the Justice League.
Yeah, it was.
It
was a nice touch.
Really old school. Joe, I like that this is like the next 5 members with Batman and Superman out of the equation, who have to kind of do stuff on their own, and it's kind of like, no, they're still a really capable team without those guys. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, but it should still be Martian Manhunter instead of Cyborg.
It should be, but like I said, I liked him in this issue.
I did as well. I'm ragging because it's easy, because I'm still,
we miss Jean.
It's there.
Of course we do, but like, actually, this is the most I've cared about Cyborg, like I say, in like 6-7 years. So you know what? Yeah. Good on you, Williamson. You did something good here.
They can have this one.
And I think a lot of it is his connection with Raven here, and I like that Raven's been brought into this. I like that Raven's now a big deal, because Cyborg basically gets them out of Dodge. He's like, okay, Barbatos is coming, boom tube time, and he takes them to hyperspace. Hypertime, sorry. Hyperspace is a thing.
Matt would have killed you for that.
I didn't just make it up though. Hyperspace is a thing.
It is.
So it's a thing. Anyway, so yeah, takes them to hypertime, and Flash is like, hey, I've ran like alongside this, but we're just in it now. Like, what the hell, Cyborg? What have you done? He's like, yeah, I got some upgrades, Miller box. We need more end metal. Now, if I'm going to critique this issue much, it's that we kind of end with everything back where we started, where they're all off on their own little missions to get their end metal. The only difference being is now that Cyborg's with Flash and Raven, but the other teams are kind of like, you've got. I don't know if this was the exact pairings. I think it was, though, because Deathstroke's
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
Yeah, Deathstroke's with Aquaman, Terrific.
I still like the image of him riding the seahorses, though.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's nice. That's fine. You got Fate with Wonder Woman, and you got all these things going on. And it's fine. But I do kind of feel like, yeah, if you didn't read this, most of this almost, like...
feels irrelevant.
Yeah. The Cyborg teaming up with Raven, it almost feels like it could have just been a one-shot of, like, Cyborg teaming up with Raven and finding her and, like...
I agree. Stuff. I think the biggest thing I noticed with this is that the rest of the crossover was ultimately pointless. If this had been a slightly longer issue, but just one issue, and you start with the Justice League being captured, we don't need to see them fighting at all, because that adds nothing to the story.
Yeah.
All it adds, we just need Cyborg's perspective. We need, him knowing that they've all lost, and then they all come together anyway.
You don't need it, but I will say I'd be fine with having an issue of it, though. I think the fact that they dragged it out over 2 issues was the biggest...
It was rough, yeah.
And even then, the first issue setting it up didn't really need to be there entirely either, which is why I said I think 2 issues would have been perfect. I think 1 issue of they get captured, we see the fighting, and they're in a bad place. Because I feel like issues 1, 2, and kind of 3 to an extent, all ended with the same cliffhanger of, oh, we're captured and we're fighting. We're captured and we're fighting. Yeah. Oh no, we're captured again at the end of the 3rd issue. Like, they all kind of had the same ending to them. So, like, I'd be fine with just a 2-issue thing. And like I say, it's kind of weird how most of the characters went back in place. So that if you're just reading the main Metal book, most of this doesn't affect anything. It's just the Cyborgs now get Raven with them, and Flash with them, and they're off to find some other source of the nth metal. So that is the one thing that'll come out of this, where it's like, oh, you had to read it for that, but otherwise, probably
Yeah,
not.
no, I agree. It's kind of weird, and I think it's notable that the first and last issues of this crossover are Justice League. We could have left the other series out of this entirely.
Yeah.
Just had it as 2 issues in Justice League, and that would have worked better.
That would have worked. No, that's cool. And it's not to say there wasn't anything of merit in the other 2 issues. Like the Green Lantern fight last issue was kind of fun, but
It was fun, but it didn't add anything to the story.
yeah. So yeah, Gotham Resistance was definitely a better tie-in crossover. Although this last issue did add some merit to it, and I did really like Cyborg and Raven together.
I agree, and I like Cyborg at the end. His realization that he thinks he doesn't want to be a player, but he's meant to be a coach.
Mm.
And it kind of feels like, okay, maybe he will take a step back from the league as we know it, and maybe kind of go back to the younger generation and try and be one of the older the elders to teach them and bring them up.
I'd like that. I'd like that.
I would too.
I think that'd be a good role for him. I feel like they keep trying to do a solo book, and his solo book's like one of the worst selling DC books.
Yeah, it's not working. I think throw him back with a Titans team. Have him make his own Titans team if you really want. But him bringing in the younger generation.
Yeah, he would work with Titans. He would work with coaching the younger Teen Titans, or if you want to do Young Justice and have him let's say we do get Cassie and Connor back, and like Tim's maybe on that team as well. Like, did you put him with them because that's the more Johnsy Titans team. Like, have that be a thing. I don't know, whatever. But I think that's probably the best action. But I liked him here. I liked him with Raven. It was kind of like, oh yeah, I like this. I like them because they have history, and it works.
I agree. So. Yeah. And then we do have the moment at the end with Batman Who Laughs, kind of going, yeah, well, kind of let them go because now they'll spread the darkness.
Yeah, he implies that they're spreading it somehow with.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's curious. He also mentions they'll be back because we still have some of their friends, so they're going to be back. Yeah,
I mean, it's hostage 101, isn't it? Get someone they care about. They'll do what you say.
Yeah.
Or in this case, they'll do what you expect.
Although next time they're coming back with lots of nth metals, so they might actually have a chance.
This plan will likely backfire because it's a comic event, so that's kind of how it goes. But it's a fine plan on his part.